We in the basement and we gonna grow some ish. And if you wanna keep on following, then hit that shit. I don't know. Girl, what? I don't know how to rap. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. I'm fooling around. It's a Saturday. The kid's taking a nap. I got a few, like an hour or so to get some stuff done down here. So I wanted to go on ahead and start off with an update of the seedlings, and we're gonna start some seeds and we're gonna just chit chat. Okay. All right, first up here we got some peppers up. I ended up spinning this around, which is why all the tags are like facing the other way, because I felt like that row up there was getting hit by the fan, so the soil wasn't staying warm. So all of these back here for the most part came up, so that is really exciting. The main thing that I was kind of worried about, because I had issues last year, were my fish peppers. And I'm trying to see where the heck they're placed in here because I can't freaking see the tag. Where are they at? So yeah, here are where the fish peppers are. These 4 cells here, and I'm not seeing any germination yet. So that's a little sad. If anybody has some fish pepper seeds that you want to share, send them my way. My eggplants are looking fabulous. Only one of these guys are like kind of struggling. I believe this is the one that I snapped in half. So hopefully it makes a rebound, because I really want 4 of each varieties here. These are my Dollar Tree plants. Got some dill here and some chives in the back. And then these are more like slow growing guys. So this time actually has one little baby sprout. So that's exciting. The sage here, oregano back there, and those are chives. So these are bunching onions then. So those guys didn't come up, but that's okay. All right, moving on down here. My celery is looking fabulous. I will actually be transplanting these out really soon under cover, but yeah, they're looking awesome. I'm so excited about this little project. I've never grown celery successful before, so that's looking really good. Another thing that I'm really excited about is rosemary. Look at them. They are starting to look like little rosemaries. So cute. Never grown rosemary from seed, so success. My summer savory looks a little, I don't know what's happening here. I might end up direct sowing some, but the rest of my herbs are slowly coming in. The bergamot has a few sprouts. My thyme is pretty slow to start, and the oregano, it looks like it has a couple of sprouts. You can barely see them though. My leeks are leaking. These will also be going outside soon. I want to begin to harden these off. They are being blown by a fan, but I want to get them used to the outdoor element. So that's going on. These guys will also be going outside soon as well. All of my lettuces and spinach and a couple of beets over here. So these 2 will be going outside soon in like half of this tray, because all of the celery will be going out as well. Coming down here, I showed you guys just the other day the bare root strawberries that I picked up from Home Depot and have been rooting in these pots here. You can see a majority of them are looking real good. A couple of them are looking pretty sad. Like this guy's kind of sad, but I see some new growth there, so I think those will be fine. This one looks pretty terrible. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll leave it in there and just see what happens. And then these are the pine berries. These ones look a lot more ridiculous. So you can see there's nothing there. Have some new growth here. This guy's doing all right. I feel like this might be buried a little too deep as well, which is probably some of my fault. But this one might make a comeback. It actually looks like it's upside down. I don't know. We'll see. This one looks okay. This one just looks okay. This one is hanging on. This one, I don't know, I see that it has like a little bit of growth in the middle there, so it should be fine. This one's all right. That one looks pretty terrible. So the pine berries, not as successful. I might end up picking up another pack of bare roots because I do want a decent amount of these guys as well. And then my Dollar Tree flowers here are beginning to sprout. You can see just how itty bitty these guys are. The cosmos are doing well, and the petunias itty bitty as well. And then my bunching onions back here. These ones are looking great. These ones not so much. These are the red beer bunching. Not looking as good, but it'll be all right. I'll be putting those out soon as well. So all in all, everybody's looking good. Everybody's looking happy. Yeah, I'm feeling really good about this situation here. So today I want to get some herbs started. So let me go on ahead and post you guys up on this tripod here. All right, so looking in my planner, today is, hold on, let me get to my calendar here. Today is the 25th, which means for the 27th, we are roughly about 8 weeks out from my final frost. So I had plans on possibly starting tomatoes, but I'm gonna wait another 2 weeks. So with my tomatoes, I don't want to do what I ended up having to do last year, which was popping up my little temporary greenhouse thing that I got from Aldi's like years ago. I don't want to have to pull that out this year, so I am going to hold off on tomatoes. However, something that I know I can keep in here and it'll be fine or whatever are more herbs. So I've already shared all the herbs that I'll be growing this year, but I want to tell you what I'm starting today. Again, 8 weeks out from my final frost. We have our ashwagandha, which I believe I'm going to put these in a pot for this year, and then eventually I'll find a more permanent spot for these to go in. Another thing that I'm going to put in a pot is the hibiscus, zinger hibiscus, which is also known as sorrel tea or roselle or Jamaican tea. So I'm really excited to grow this, and this I'll probably end up planting on the side of my deck. And then we've got a few different types of basil. So I have a culinary mix here. So I'm just going to, you know, sow these kind of willy-nilly and hopefully have like an array of colors. We have some holy basil, sweet Thai basil, some dark opal purple basil, and then mamalo basil, which is like a lettuce leaf basil. So yeah, I think those are all the seeds that we're going to start inside today. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that going. To mention, I mentioned the culinary mix, and on the back of the packet here, these were from Survival Garden Seeds, by the way. If you guys want to get a discount from their kits, everything will be linked down below. But they did list out the actual basils that are in this mix. So it is Genovese basil, lemon basil, lime basil, opal basil, Thai basil. So a couple of these will be repeats, but I'm really hoping that I get some lemon and lime. Baby, that will be amazing. So everything is sown here. So I do need to put the basils on heat mats. So what I'm thinking I may need to do is rearrange some things on my seed starting shelf, which shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let's do that now. All right, so I went on ahead and put the hibiscus and ashwagandha in this tray with the rest of the herbs. I have my basil here. I just moved my heat mat. It was down here underneath these strawberries, but I just bumped it up here. And I also put my eggplants in here since these guys like the warmth as well. And they do need to start getting hardened off since the fan is like blowing more so on this shelf here. So up here, everything is the same except for these two items. I think that I can go on ahead and take those outside. What do y'all think? All right, so now that we are all cleaned up, the first thing that I like to do right after I sow seeds and everything like that, I like to pull out my planner and see if I'm on point with what I have going on in my head and write down anything, etc. So I did go on ahead and take the liberty of doing that off camera. Let me get this out of my ear because I'm hearing myself talk. It's weird. But I went on ahead and wrote down everything that I needed to get done today. And I just want to talk to you guys about being a forgetful gardener. Don't be that girl. So I am the type of person that I like to physically write things down. And for me, having a planner is like so essential just to my life in general, but specifically with being a gardener, there are important things that you kind of need to keep track of, you want to make note of, and we can't always just rely on our brains or even our devices, because I don't know about you, but there have been plenty of times where I've made the effort of setting up notifications or things like that in my phone or on my iPad, and I will straight up ignore it because how many notifications do we get in a day on our devices where you completely ignore it, or maybe like, okay, I'll remember that for later and end up completely forgetting? I'm that girl. It's me. So I physically write things down. Now, I can go into detail with how I do things in my planner, but I just wanted to give you guys a couple of key points to take with you in the case that you do want to be a better note taker as far as like your gardening efforts are concerned. So the first thing that I think about when I set up my planner, and I want to say that I have a couple of videos like where I show you guys like in great detail, but I just wanted to have something in a gardening related video. That way, in the case that you've never thought about using like an actual physical planner for gardening, you have, this video to go to. But the first thing that I like to notate in my planner are like my last frost, my first frost, all of those things. So I keep a specific page, and it's a really simple page, but you can see it just has a year at a glance, and I have like some little a key here for some things that I keep highlighted, and you can see like it's really simple, just little highlighted dates for me to keep track of when to start seeds, my first and last frost, and when I want to sow my garlic or any kind of like flower bulbs. So that's the first thing that I like to keep in mind. You can go in greater detail by like having a full calendar view, and that's also where having like an actual calendar would be helpful as well. If you want to like take all of these ideas and just have like a paper calendar hung up, but just like going in at the beginning of the year and putting all of those important dates, so as you like flip through the months throughout the year, you have everything ready. But for me, I like to go into a little bit more detail. I like list making. Again, I'm a forgetful person, so I live by a list. That way I can actually sort out like, okay, when can I feasibly get these things done? So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Again, you don't have to have all of this. You can have that, or you can have like, even one of those little pocket notebooks or whatever with calendars. So that's the first thing that I like to keep note of. But then as far as note taking is concerned, I write down just about everything in this planner. And what I like to use are these daily sheets, which I'm pretty sure, again, I've showed you this stuff before, but I keep a daily sheet. It has a list of 3 priorities, a long list of, you know, to-dos that you can pop in there, a little wide open area, and then this little boxed area down here. So I can kind of just go over how I like to do things. And I will just use today as an example. So today, my 3 main priorities were to start my 8-week seedlings, which I did with you guys. I mentioned that I wanted to move my leeks outside to begin hardening off. So that's on my to-dos or my priorities. And then I need to make sure that the water levels on everything is good. It's essential for growth. And that is something that I tend to neglect. So even though watering just seems so simple, it is a priority. So it's up there with priorities. In my little noted section, I just wrote out all of the varieties that I started, and what I like to use this list for is ultimately I create like a master list of all the varieties that I grew in one gardening season or one year, so I can go back and like make mental notes of what did I like, were these things successful, were they prolific, would I grow it again, yes or no type thing. So I like keeping a full list of all the varieties that I grew as I start them. That way when I'm creating that master list, I can just flip back and know, you know, what all I grew. And I make sure that I keep my seeds out before I pull this out as well. And then again, just a list of to-dos here. So for today, I also, in addition to what we did outdoors, I want to prep my potato grow bags. I want to direct sow some things. I possibly need to re-sow some brassicas because I put those out there to like fend for themselves. May the best winner, or may the best man win. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. If I need to restart a few things though, at this time is when I'll do that. I wanted to go on ahead and transplant out my celery and cover those up. I did mention that as well. And then I need to fertilize my seedlings, which I don't need to do that on camera. So just having a list of to-dos, again, it doesn't have to be like a super grand, you know, it doesn't have to look the way I'm doing it. It doesn't. But if you like pretty things and you like, you know, a little bit more decorative planning, then make it beautiful. Make it fun to come back to. And that's what I try to do for myself. But definitely making sure that you are taking notes of everything that you do in a day, or even things that you want to do. And also things that I keep note of when I'm doing my daily sheets. Sometimes I mention my fails. So on this day, I mentioned my onion seedlings just being a complete fail. And I think that's important to note as well. Not only the things that you want to do, the things that were successful, but you want to talk about your failures as well, because as you move forward, like some things, like, again, I'm a forgetful gardener, and sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I don't think I've grown this before. Let me try this and blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, no, I grew that and I didn't do so well. And maybe these are the things that I did, and this is where I can possibly do better. I need to start writing those things down. So writing down my onion seedling failure, I could probably go into more detail with what exactly happened, and maybe that is something that I will make note of right now, because it needs to be said. Like, I think as gardeners, like, you know, back in the day, they had notebooks where they wrote down like all of their wins and failures, and that is so essential to understanding and knowing what you need to do better for future reference. So I am going to make sure that I make note of what exactly happened. That way I can maybe try a new method for next year. And we mentioned logging our successes and failures. Now, in addition to this is going to be a record for yourself. So we mentioned what I just dates. We mentioned having a planner. You can keep it for many, many years. You can keep it as mental notes to yourself. So something that I do now is I actually keep my previous year notes in the back of my planner, so I can go back and look like, okay, when did I start these seeds last year, and like how can I actually like switch that up. So having all of these notes, while it's all good for right now to plan ahead, but it's also great to look back on to make future plans for when you start your seeds or when you transplant out. And like you can even go back and look at the weather to see like, you know, what the weather correspondence was to the date that you actually transplanted your things out and all of that. So it's a major resource to look back on that you personally took note of and really want to have for yourself, for, because they're your own notes. So overall, planning your own garden, or farm or homestead or whatever, I just think that it's really important. Not everybody creates videos, not everybody takes photos, but like at least you have your written record of what was going down in the garden. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give my spiel on being a forgetful gardener. You don't want to be that girl. You want to have record. You want to have something to look back on to be like, wow, I really did a lot. And that's why I like journaling too. Now I'm just rambling. So we're going to keep it about this. And so we're going to go ahead and cut it short, because I will continue to ramble just talking about planning and journaling, and it's a passion of mine. Obviously, it's something that I really enjoy, but as it pertains to the garden, it will just be a really good resource for you. Good resource for you. So we're going to go on ahead and cut this short right now, because like I said, I'll keep on going. I thank you all so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this channel, please make sure that you go on ahead and subscribe if you have not already. Like the video, leave down in the comment section below what other things do you log in